Before this video starts, I'd like to quickly mention that I'm still recovering from an illness, and second of all, my Discord is now finished up, I've mentioned before, and I'm just trying to get people in, so feel free to join the Discord when you have the time. Overall, let's get into the new video. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Rich here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going through on what I believe are the top 5 characters that beginners should be playing in Street Fighter 6. Now, when it comes to certain characters, some characters are good. However, the execution and way to play them are tricky. But then there's some characters that are like annoying to play, but they're quite easy to know how to know the basics and end up mastering them pretty simple with the learning curve. But characters like Chun, for example, would not be on this video. So if you wanted to watch me talk about Chun as a basic character to play, you're in the wrong video. So I do apologize on that. But good character and all, but obviously she's got really tricky executions in the situation. But that's not the point here. The point is we're going to go through the video on what I believe are the top 5 characters that you should be playing if you're a newbie in Street Fighter 6. So let's get into it, and be sure to enjoy the video. Coming in at number 1 in my list of top 5 characters for beginners, we have Luke. Now, people might think, why Luke? Normally they would think of him as the beginner for season 1, but I still believe that he's a very strong character to play for beginners. This is because on his all-round ground tools that he's very good with, such as his drive rush, back heavy punch, that is extremely probably by far the most broken move he's got due to it obviously having the what was it called, his hitbox being like back compared to the way how it looks in the animation. His fireball is probably by far the best in the game. Compare that to Akuma's. Akuma's is obviously the best one, but if Akuma's was not in the game, Luke's would have been the better one, since obviously it's got straightforward quickness, recovery speed, and also he can choose any other ones he wants to use, being either his light, medium, and heavy. The heavy is, I believe, is the short range, so he can use that to bait a player and end up using it to for his advantage, like what JP would normally do in a situation where he can use his fireball to bait people that are normally like to parry fireballs and then go for a drive rush into throw to punish the opponent because of what they do in the situation. Therefore, Luke is there at number 1. Coming in at number 2 in my list of top 5 beginner characters, I am putting Ryu as my number 2. Now, Ryu has been, without a doubt, the most basic character for newbies to play in every Street Fighter he's been around from Street Fighter 2. I'm not including Street Fighter 1 because that really didn't matter, to be honest. But anyway, Street Fighter 2 all the way to Street Fighter 6, he's been very basic with the combos he's got. His tools are extremely good, and also with the way how drive system works, and Ryu still being the basic character as he is for newbies, it comes to me that obviously it's a good way to learn like how to do like the basic situations, being your footsies, your spacing, fireballs, anti-airing, and so on. With even modern controls, I forgot to mention as well, both modern controls and classic controls are a simple way to help new players out with playing as Ryu, since obviously it knows on how to play. Even pros themselves would recommend you using Ryu. This is because on, like as I said before, in the few seconds ago, but without a doubt, like if you want to like have a good toolkit and also do a lot of damage, Ryu is your character. That's why he is at number 2. Now, coming in my list for the number 3 spot, I am going to put Ken as my number 3 point for beginners in Street Fighter 6. Now, originally, I was thinking of other characters to maybe have in this situation. However, come to think of it, I think it's like a good idea to have Ken in this list. This is because on if you want to like play like the aggressive side rather than like what Ree would do, play all defensive and like learn stuff. Ken's combos are still the same as Ryu's, but not exactly identical because obviously the heat. Ken's got different types of moves compared to Ryu. Ryu may be the character where you can learn how to do his Shoryuken, how to do your spacing, and how to play the footsie game in that situation. But without a doubt, um, pros would also recommend you playing Ken as well because on his combos and the fundamentals and the way how if you want to play the rush down side for the character, by all means you could have Ryu or Ken to be like your characters to maybe play in the situation. Therefore, like you can decide if you want to play defensive one time or you want to maybe practice playing a rushdown character. Both Ryu and Ken are there, but if you want to mainly stick to the Ken side, playing all rushdown and going aggressive, by all means, he's there, and he's there at number three, in my opinion. Now, coming in my list on the number four spot and where I believe this character is, some people might think differently, but I believe that this character is pretty strong for new players because on his easier inputs and also his combos are pretty basic, in my opinion, after looking at him. That is Bison. Now, Bison, without a doubt, has straightforward pressure. His offense is probably by far the best in the game, besides Marissa's, I believe. But the solid pokes that he's got and his heavies are probably by far the best heavies in the game as well, being a good range and also the fact that it's also got a very fast recovery when it's on block. So be warning on that when you try to go for a different type of situation when you're going against Bison. Another thing I like to also mention about Bison is that his scissor kick is probably by far the most broken move that he's got in his list because his medium scissor kick or his heavy, I think it's his medium, it's safe on block, not because on the frames, it's because on the space that he gets when he's input in the medium scissor kick, and you thinking yourself, I'm going to go for a whiff since he calculated the space in. But obviously, the distance on it will be able for him to whiff punish you, and then you end up getting corner carried with his combo and end up getting a psycho bomb on you, which is another thing I would also like to say. His psycho bomb is also a very strong thing added to his little tools in Street Fighter 6 because of the fact that if you mess up completely, you are literally gone. One mistake, you can do with punish, heavy punch into I don't know what other move he does into EX Psycho Crusher, which is his very strong move as well that can go for projectiles, and his Devil's Reverse is a very strong move as well. Devil's Reverse, medium scissor, and his heavy normals and a few other normals he's got are probably by far the best moves he's got. Therefore, I'm putting Bison at my number four spot. Now, coming in my honorable mention spots, I would like to quickly say that one character I would like to mention is Marissa. Now, Marissa, as much as like she is in the tier list, people will say she's quite like a bottom tier character. Same with like Lily and Jamie, sort of how people might think on the tier list. But it doesn't really matter on the tier list. But Marissa is a good pick for beginners. This is because on her simple inputs that she's got and her combos are pretty solid to learn very quick in the matchups. So if you give it a good practice, an hour or two, you'll be able to do well with Marissa. And also the fact that the damage is probably by far one of her good momentum because she can casually do like what 7,000 damage, which is like Bison's damage without like doing all his combo, like the EX like a bomb, but Marissa can casually do it like blimey. Another thing I like to mention is that often like she has her Superman punch that can also go through fireballs if you time it right. But if you don't time it right, it could cause you to end up not what's it called hit punish counting your opponent because you timed it wrong. But another thing I like to say as well is also the fact that She's also got some of her moves are like two hit armor defense, same with like Geef, but you can use those in those situations to make sure that whenever you're fighting a character that likes to what's it called get all aggressive, you can use her shield to predict on who to attack or not. But obviously, if you block it or they block you, then you can still go for a plus combo. I believe she's plus, if I'm not mistaken, but if not, please forgive me on that. But anyway, let's get down to the number one spot. If Chun Li and Ryu had a child, according to some people, and the character that I'm on about has probably by far the best moves and also a throw loop and a good fireball and probably better execution neutrals than compared to like any other character. I'm talking about Mai. Mai is hands down the best character for beginners to play. This because on her very basic combos that she's got, her fan fireball is probably by far the best in the game, and also the fact that her moves in the game are probably the strongest as well, being her crouching medium kick, her forward heavy kick, well, her back heavy punch, and her forward heavy punch are probably by far the strongest in the game. But obviously, the reason why her forward heavy kick is probably by far the best is because she is safe on block. Then compare that to Chun Li's forward heavy kick. She is -4, so Mai is completely safe after block doing forward heavy punch, and that's not even with drive rush as well. If she had drive rush, it'll probably be like -2 on block, so she'll be safe as well. So there's no point of doing anything when she does forward heavy kick. So be wary on that. Another thing as well is also the fact that her fireball game is probably by far the strongest as well, because unlike Chun Li, that average Chun Li would normally do, like me for example, will go for drive rush followed by no fireball into drive rush. So be wary on that as well, people. But apart from that, the other thing that I would like to say about Mai is that she makes you out as like you have to gamble on whether or not she's gonna go for either a overhead, a throw, or a light kick after fan drive rush. And if you mess up the situation on that, if it's either the throw loop or maybe her overhead, she's going to corner carry you into the corner, and you're in that situation where you have to guess on what she's going to do. Either it's a throw loop or it's going to go for a meaty. You don't know in that situation. But apart from that, her level one is also the best in the game because she can use that to her advantage as well. Because obviously it links to her fireballs as well, and if once she gets her charged fireballs, she can easily ruin your day with both ruining your drive gauge by burning you out, and also doing a lot of damage if you end up getting hit because of that. Overall, the characters that I've mentioned are a very good pick for beginners who want to try out Street Fighter 6 for the first time. But this doesn't include either controls, be it modern or classic. You can decide on whether or not it's a good idea to use the controls to your opinion. But the characters I mentioned, in my opinion, will be a good way to learn the game off by heart by knowing obviously what they do in the situation. Either it's a neutral game, footsies, fireball situation, or trying to practice your DP in the situation you want to like try and practice anti-air and someone who likes to jump so many times. But today is going to be the end of the video for this week. I appreciate you all for watching. Be sure to comment on your opinion on my top five. But overall, I wish you all the best, and I will see you all later. Peace.